Dad, perfect events. The garage door was open. That's when I knew Margaret's car was gone. I'm Tyler Mitchell, 58 years old, and I've been working on cars my whole life, 40 years as a mechanic before I retired last year. But standing there in my kitchen with coffee getting cold in my hands, looking through the window at that empty garage, I felt like I didn't know anything at all. Margaret never left that door open. 35 years of marriage, and she never once left that garage door open overnight. But Margaret was gone now. 8 months since the cancer took her. I set the coffee down and walked outside. The concrete was cold under my bare feet. I'd come out in slippers without thinking. The oil stain in the center of the garage floor was dark and familiar. 20 years of the same car sitting in the same spot leaves a mark. But the spot was empty now. My chest went tight. The 1969 Dodge Charger RT was gone, Margaret's baby. The car she fell in love with when we were 25 and spent our first year of marriage saving up. 4. The car I'd spent every weekend for 20 years restoring to perfect condition. I walked to my workbench. Everything was exactly how I'd left it. Tools hung on the pegboard, each one outlined in black marker. My red toolbox sat closed. Margaret's work journal lay open next to it. She always kept track of every bolt, every part, every improvement we made together. The last entry was dated 3 weeks before she died. Her handwriting looked tired but determined, almost done with the interior restoration. Can't wait to take our road trips again when Tyler retires. This car will outlive us both. I closed the journal. The garage still smelled like her perfume mixed with motor oil. I could almost hear her laugh echoing off the walls. Margaret had this way of making even the most frustrating repair job feel like an adventure. She'd bring me sandwiches and cold beer, sit on that old stool, and tell me about her day at the insurance office while I worked under the hood. Hand me that wrench. Honey, she'd say, like she knew exactly which one I needed. Usually she did. 35 years of working on cars together teaches you a lot about your partner. She could diagnose engine trouble by sound alone, and she never forgot a part number or a torque specification. The cancer came fast. 6 months from diagnosis to goodbye. I kept thinking we'd have more time. Time for those road trips she planned. Time to teach our grandkids about engines and oil changes. Time to just sit in the garage on Sunday mornings, drinking coffee and admiring what we'd built together. A car engine rumbled outside. Mason's BMW pulled into my driveway. My son got out, and even from across the yard, I could see he wouldn't look me in the eye. 38 years old, and he still had that guilty look from when he was a kid. The passenger door opened. Ashley stepped out. Perfect as always. Designer clothes, perfect hair, that smile that never quite reached her eyes. She'd been married to Mason for 2 years, and I still felt like I didn't know her at all. Every conversation felt rehearsed, like she was playing a role. Margaret had tried to talk to me about Ashley a few times before she got really sick. Something doesn't feel right about her, Tyler, she'd said one evening while we worked on the Charger's transmission. She asks too many questions about money, about the house. Questions that don't seem like normal curiosity. I'd brushed it off then. Told Margaret she was being overprotective, that Mason was happy, and that's what mattered. Now I wished I'd listened more carefully. Mason walked toward me, stopped at the edge of the driveway. Dad? I waited. I need to talk to you about something. Where's the car, Mason? His jaw tightened. That's what I need to talk about. Where is it? I sold it yesterday. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. You what? I sold Mom's car. I needed the money. I felt my hands start to shake. That was your mother's car. It was just sitting there. His voice went defensive. You don't even drive it. Mom's gone, Dad. The car was just collecting dust. But it wasn't just collecting dust. Every Sunday morning, I'd go out there and start her up. Let the engine warm, check the fluids, make sure everything was running smooth. It was my way of keeping Margaret close, of honoring the work we'd done together. The sound of that engine was like hearing her voice again. Ashley walked up then, put her hand on Mason's arm. Those red nails looked like claws to me. Tyler, we understand this is emotional, she said in that smooth voice of hers. But Mason needed that money. We have this incredible opportunity in Paris. My business connections there could change everything for us. I looked at my son, really looked at him. He'd lost weight, dark circles under his eyes. When's the last time he'd smiled without Ashley prompting him? When did you take it? Yesterday afternoon, while you were at the hardware store. He still had his key from when he lived here. I got a good price for it too. $15,000. $15,000 for a car worth at least $185,000 in its current condition. Margaret and I had documented every restoration detail, kept receipts for every part. A numbers, matching 1969 Charger RT with full restoration history was worth serious money. Any real car dealer would know that instantly. I wanted to grab him and shake him, make him understand what he'd done. But 40 years of fixing other people's mistakes taught me to keep my voice steady, even when everything inside was breaking apart. You should have asked me. Would you have said yes? No. Ashley stepped forward. Tyler, you have to understand. Mason is trying to build a future. We both are. Surely you want what's best for your son. What I want is for my son to respect his mother's memory. Her smile never wavered. Margaret is gone. Mason is here. He's alive, and he needs this opportunity. The way she said Margaret's name, like it was just another word, made my blood run cold. No warmth, no respect, no acknowledgement of what Margaret had meant to this family. They left 10 minutes later. I watched the BMW disappear around the corner, then went back to the garage, stood in the empty space where the Charger should have been. The silence felt wrong, broken. I picked up Margaret's journal again, read the last entry about road trips and the car outliving us. My throat went tight. She'd been planning for a future she'd never see, working on a car she'd never drive again. I flipped through the pages, remembering. Here was the entry from when we first bought the car in 1989. Tyler says I'm crazy for wanting a project this big, but I can see what this beauty could become. It's going to be our retirement adventure. Another entry from 1995, rebuilt the carburetor today. Tyler held the flashlight and told me I was doing it wrong the whole time, then admitted I did it better than he would have. That's my husband, stubborn but honest. From 2003, Mason helped us install the new interior today. He's getting good, with his hands, just like his dad. Maybe someday he'll appreciate what we're building here. The irony of that last one hit me like a sledgehammer. I closed the journal and went inside, sat at the kitchen table where Margaret and I had eaten breakfast every morning for 35 years. The house felt too quiet without her humming while she made coffee, too empty without her reading me interesting bits from the newspaper. The phone rang at 7 a.m. the next morning. I'd been awake since 4, sitting at that same kitchen table with Margaret's journal open in front of me. Mr. Mitchell? This is Nathan Brooks from Brooks Classic Auto. I have your wife's car. I sat up straighter. What? Your son brought it in Wednesday. I need you to come to the dealership. There's something Margaret wanted you to know. I remembered Nathan from Margaret's funeral. Gray-haired guy who'd stood in the back, left before I could talk to him. I don't understand. Margaret was my friend. She saved my business 25 years ago when bank would loan me money. This dealership exists because she co-signed for me. His voice cracked. Please, Mr. Mitchell, can you come? 30 minutes later, I was standing in Nathan's showroom. The place was clean, modern, full of vintage cars that gleamed under the lights. Classic Camaros, Mustangs, a couple of Corvettes. The kind of place Margaret would have loved browsing through. Your wife saved my life, Nathan said as we walked toward the garage. 1999. I had this dream of opening a classic car dealership. But I was young, no credit, no collateral. Just passion and a lot of nerve. Margaret believed in me when nobody else would. She never told me. That's who Margaret was. Never wanted credit for the good she did. Nathan's eyes were red. When your son brought that Charger in, I knew it instantly. Margaret showed me pictures every time I saw her. Told me about every improvement you two made. Mason said he sold it. He did. To me. Paid him the $15,000 because he seemed desperate. Said something about a Paris trip with his wife. Nathan stopped walking. But Mr. Mitchell, that car was never mine to keep. We entered the garage. The space was huge, white floors, bright lights overhead. The Charger sat there under covers, and seeing it again made my knees weak. Nathan pulled back the cover. The burgundy paint was perfect, chrome gleaming. Every line exactly as Margaret and I had restored it. 2 years ago, Margaret asked me to help her install something, Nathan said. A hidden compartment behind the radio. Made me swear that if anything happened to her, I'd make sure you knew about it. I opened the driver's door, sat in the leather seat. Still smelled like her perfume. Margaret had insisted on leather cleaner with lavender. Said it made long drives more relaxing. Nathan showed me how to release the panel behind the radio. Press here, pull there. The radio face came away, revealing a hidden space. Inside was a USB drive and a sealed envelope with my name on it. Nathan stepped back, walked out of the garage, left me alone with whatever Margaret had left for me. I opened the envelope first. Margaret's handwriting filled the page, dated 2 months before she died. Tyler, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and Ashley has made her move. I've been investigating her for 18 months. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Nicole Stevens. She's done this before, twice that I've found so far. This USB contains everything I've gathered, photos, documents, contact information for her previous victims. Their stories are identical. She targets men with aging parents and family assets. The pattern is always the same: create financial pressure, then convince them to sell family property. My hands started shaking as I read on. I confronted her once, carefully watching her reaction. She's very skilled at manipulation. Mason won't believe this without ironclad proof, and I didn't have enough before the cancer got worse. She's been asking questions about our house, about your retirement savings, about whether you've thought about assisted living. She's setting the stage, Tyler. The letter continued. If you're reading this, finish what I started. Protect our son. He's a victim too, just like her other husbands were victims. Call the numbers on the USB. Ask them about Nicole Stevens. Ask them what she did to their families. I love you both. This is my last gift to protect what we built together. Margaret. I plugged the USB into Nathan's computer with shaking hands. Folders full of photos appeared on the screen. Ashley at different weddings with different men, marriage certificates. Nicole Stevens married to Brandon Cooper in Phoenix, 2019. Nicole Stevens married to Trevor Johnson in Tampa, 2021. Newspaper articles about elderly fraud cases. Headlines that made my stomach turn. Local family loses life savings to daughter-in-law scam. Elderly woman dies in care facility after home sale. Margaret's notes about Ashley's behavior over the past 2 years, dates, times, specific conversations, asked about house deed location, March 15th, commented on Tyler seeming forgetful, April 2nd, left brochure for Sunset Hills Senior Living on kitchen counter, April 18th. The pattern was there, had been building for months. Ashley was creating a narrative that I was declining, preparing Mason to believe his father needed help. Phone numbers for Brandon Cooper and Trevor Johnson at the bottom of a document. Margaret's final note. Need concrete proof before telling Mason. He won't believe me without it. She's too skilled at this game. If you're reading this and I'm gone, please finish what I started. Nathan came back after a few minutes, stood in the doorway while I stared at the screen. She knew, didn't she? I nodded, couldn't speak for a moment. Margaret was protecting me even after she was gone. That's who she was. I called Brandon Cooper that afternoon from Nathan's office. He answered on the second ring. Mr. Cooper, my name is Tyler. Mitchell, my son is married to a woman named Nicole Stevens, but she's using the name Ashley Parker. Long silence, then a heavy sigh. I wondered when this call would come. Brandon told me his story. Met Nicole at a community center where his elderly mother volunteered. Charming, patient, made him feel alive again after his wife died. Married 6 months later. She was perfect, Brandon said. Understanding about my grief, helpful with Mom, always asking how she could make things better. I thought I'd found someone special. After the wedding, Nicole started with small comments about his mother. She seems confused lately. Have you noticed? I'm worried about her driving. What if something happens? Over months, she built a case that his mother wasn't safe alone. Found articles about dementia, left them where Brandon would see them. Normal forgetfulness suddenly looked like serious decline. She convinced me to sell Mom's house for $280,000 to pay for memory care, said Mom deserved the best. Facility in the state. Brandon's voice cracked. 2 weeks after the money hit our joint account, Nicole disappeared, cleaned out everything. Mom died 6 months later, heartbroken, asking when she could go home. I'm sorry. Mom was fine, Mr. Mitchell. Just a little forgetful, like any 85-year-old. She didn't need that place. She needed her home, her garden, her independence. Trevor Johnson's story was similar, but different details. Met Nicole at his father's funeral. She helped him through the grief, convinced him to sell his father's auto repair shop for $195,000. 3 days after the check cleared, she was gone. Vanished to Costa Rica with the money. She researches her targets first, Trevor told me. Knows everything before she introduces herself. Does your son have access to your house, your finances? I thought about Ashley's questions over the past 2 years, about the house deed, about my retirement savings, about whether I'd thought about downsizing. Not yet. Then you have time. Stop. Her before she gets him to sign anything. Document everything she's done so far. That evening, I drove home with Margaret's USB drive and letter in my jacket pocket. Sat at my kitchen table and made a list of everything I remembered Ashley saying or doing that seemed strange. The pattern was clearer now. 6 months ago, asking where I kept important papers. 4 months ago, commenting that the house seemed big for one person. 2 months ago, suggesting I looked tired. Maybe I should see a doctor about my memory. Last month, that brochure for assisted living falling from her purse. She'd been building her case for months, preparing Mason to believe his father needed help. I called Mason that night. I need to talk to you about something. Can you come by tomorrow? Just you. What's it about? Your mother, something she left for us. Silence on the other end. Ashley and I don't keep secrets, Dad. This is between you and me. Please, Mason. Long pause. Okay, but I have to tell Ashley where I'm going. That's fine. He arrived the next afternoon alone like he'd promised, but he looked nervous getting out of the car. I had coffee ready and Margaret's letter on the kitchen table. Mason saw it and his shoulders went tight. Dad, if this is about the car again, sit down, please. He sat, arms crossed, defensive before I'd even started. I took a breath, used the same voice I'd used teaching him to change oil when he was 12. Calm, patient, factual. Before I show you anything, I need you to listen. Really listen. Can you do that? This feels like an ambush. It's protection. I put Margaret's letter in his hands. Mason read it, color draining from his face with each paragraph. Dad was investigating Ashley for 18 months before she died. His reaction was instant. Anger, denial. Mom never liked her. She was paranoid about everything. This is ridiculous. I stayed calm. Look at the evidence. I opened the laptop, showed him the photos. Ashley at 2 different weddings with 2 different men. The marriage certificates. Nicole Stevens married to Brandon Cooper. Nicole Stevens married to Trevor Johnson. Mason stared at them. This could be anyone. Someone with the same name. Call them. Ask them about their wives. I handed him the paper with phone numbers written in Margaret's careful handwriting. You want me to call random strangers? They're not random. They were married to your wife before you. Mason stood, started pacing around the kitchen. This is insane. Ashley wouldn't. She loves me. Then prove me wrong. Call them. Prove your mother wrong. He grabbed the paper, crumpled it in his fist. I'm not doing this. He headed for the door. I stood up. Mason, please. He turned, and I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen since he was a scared little boy. Uncertainty. Fear. Why are you doing this? Can't you just let me be happy? My voice broke. Because your mother died trying to protect you, and I'm not going to let her last months be for nothing. Mason slammed the door behind. Him. I watched him drive away. Didn't know if he'd call those numbers or go straight to Ashley. Either way, the choice was his now. The waiting was torture. I sat at that kitchen table for hours, couldn't eat, couldn't focus on anything else. Every time a car drove past, I looked up, hoping it was Mason coming back. At midnight, my phone rang. Dad. Mason's voice was wrecked, raw like he'd been crying for hours. What happened? I called them, both of them. He took a shaky breath. Everything Mom wrote is true. The same story. Exactly the same. Brandon's mother, Trevor's father's shop. It's all real? My heart was pounding. What did you do? I went home angry after I left your house. I was so mad at you, at Mom, at everything. But I kept thinking about those marriage certificates. They looked real. So I decided to test Ashley. Just ask simple questions. What kind of questions? Where she grew up? What her maiden name was? Tell me about her family. Her answers were different. Not just a little. Different. Completely different from things she'd told me before. Different town, different college, different parents' names. I closed my eyes. What happened then? I pushed harder, asked about credit cards I found in my name, cards I never applied for. $32,000 in debt I didn't know about. His voice went flat. Her whole face changed, Dad. Like a mask came off. She said they were business investments that I wouldn't understand. When I asked to see the statements, she said she didn't have to prove anything to me, that I should trust my wife. Then what? I kept pushing. Said I wanted to see all the paperwork, wanted to understand where our money was going. She packed a bag right then. No more pretending. Said I was weak, just like all the others. Said I was pathetic, that she'd wasted 3 years on me. Mason's voice broke completely. She walked out, Dad, got in her car, and left. I've been calling her phone for hours. She won't answer. I was already reaching for my jacket. Stay there. I'm calling someone who can help. Scott Williams was the private investigator Nathan had recommended. He answered on the first ring like he'd been waiting. I'm already tracking her through the credit cards, Scott said. She checked into the airport Marriott an hour ago, made multiple cash withdrawals, got about $48,000 total. My stomach dropped. She's running? Yes, and she just booked a flight. Mexico City, 6 a.m. departure, one way. Can the police stop her? I've been in contact with detectives in Arizona and Florida. They'll issue warrants based on the previous cases, but I need Mason's statement about the credit card fraud to make it stick here. At 3 a.m., we met at my house. Scott, Mason, and me. Mason looked destroyed. Red eyes, hadn't slept, hands shaking as he held his coffee cup. Scott laid out the situation while Mason signed his statement. Ashley is leaving on a 6 a.m. flight. Police are ready to arrest her on outstanding warrants, but your testimony about the forged credit cards seals the case. Mason looked at me. What would Mom do? Your mother spent her last months building a case against Ashley. She died before she could finish it. I put my hand on his shoulder. She'd want you to stop Ashley so she can't do this to another family. We drove to the airport in Scott's car. Dawn was breaking as we arrived, business travelers pulling luggage, looking tired. Police were already positioned near security. Mason hadn't spoken since we got in the car, just stared ahead, processing everything that had happened. At 5:30, Ashley appeared. 2 large suitcases, designer coat, sunglasses despite the early hour. She looked calm, confident, like someone going on vacation. She got in the security line, pulled her luggage forward. The detectives moved. Ma'am, we need to speak with you. Ashley turned, saw them. For just a second, her mask slipped. Then the smile returned. Is there a problem, officers? We have a warrant for your arrest. Nicole Stevens. She looked around, calculating. Saw the other detective blocking the exit. Then she ran. Dropped her luggage, kicked off her heels, ran in stockings across the polished floor. Airport security caught her before she made it 20 feet. Tackled her right there at the departure board. She fought, kicking, screaming, "Get off me! I haven't done anything." People stopped, watched, phones out. Police handcuffed her while she thrashed and cursed. They opened her abandoned luggage right there. Inside the first suitcase were clothes, normal travel items. Inside the second were stacks of cash rubber banded together. A passport with her photo, but the name Linda Brennan, and an external hard drive. Ashley saw us standing 30 feet away, saw Mason beside me, her face transformed into pure rage. "You did this!" she screamed at him. "You're pathetic, weak, just like the others. You really thought someone like me would want you for real?" I stepped in front of Mason. Ashley turned on me. "This was mine, my score. 3 years as I spent setting this up. You should have minded your own business and died already." Her voice echoed through the terminal as police dragged her away, her threats fading until she was gone. 2 weeks later, we learned Nicole's real name was Linda Martinez. She'd been running cons for 8 years, had 5 confirmed victims. She took the plea deal, 12 years federal prison. Mason moved back home, started therapy twice a week. Some days he was okay, helped around the house, even smiled occasionally. Some days he barely spoke, stayed in his room. I didn't push, just kept the space safe, made his favorite meals, left coffee ready. One Saturday morning, I found him in the garage holding Margaret's journal, tears on his face. "I found this entry from when I was 12, he said. "Mom wrote about teaching me to change oil, said she was proud of me, that these were the days she'd remember." I sat on the workbench beside him. She loved those days. "I sold her car, Dad." His voice broke. "For $15,000, for a trip to..." Impress a woman who was planning to destroy us. I pulled out Margaret's letter, the part about Mason being a victim too. He read it again, broke down completely. We sat in that garage for a long time, surrounded by the tools and memories Margaret had left behind. 2 months later, Nathan called. I'm bringing her home. I heard the charger before I saw it, that deep rumble that made my heart skip. Nathan pulled into my driveway, got out smiling. This was never mine, he said, handing me the keys. Margaret built this for her family. We backed the charger into the garage together. Same spot, same oil stain. The garage smelled right again. Now we work on the car every Sunday morning. Mason brings Margaret's journal. I bring coffee. We go through every system, checking, learning, remembering. Mason's getting good with his hands again, like when he was young. Mom would love this, he said last Sunday. Grease on his fingers, smile on his face. She does love it, I said. She's still here. Margaret was right. The car did outlive her. But more than that, her love outlived her too. Her investigation, her preparation, her final gift. It saved our family and brought us back together. Some things are worth fighting for. Family, truth, the memory of people who loved us best. Margaret taught me that, and she's still teaching me now. The people who truly love us never stop protecting us. They just find different ways to do it, even from beyond the grave. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't holding on to someone, but giving them the tools they need to save themselves when you're no longer there to help.